Gary V. What's up, everybody? It is Fashion FUD in the future, a Mintage Wednesday. This is our weekly gathering, our weekly session. We've been building now over 2-3 months every week, and the guests, in my opinion, have been top tier, and they just keep getting better. And this is a really exciting one because we have an icon, a legend, and a good friend. Gary V, what's happening, my man?
Life is good, Nick. Thank you so much. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone that has joined us. A lot of familiar faces with their Twitter icons here, and I'm excited to be here, my friend.
What's up, Sean? You make it in the room?
What up? What up? Couldn't miss this one. Yo, got the GOAT Gerry here, so I'm hyped.
Yeah, Sean, you've been excited. You got Brennan. Say hello,
Super
Brennan.
stoked.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Nice. So, Sean, you and Gerry go back, right? You guys have collaborated in the past, or
Yeah, I think me and Gerry kind of connected maybe a handful of years ago through sneakers, just like everyone I end up meeting. Thankful for the sneaker love in my world because that kind of brought a lot of things together. But yeah, we connected through that and just kind of always kept a dialogue. I've always been super inspired by Gerry and just following everything that he does. And then we did work together on Gerry's last shoe that he designed, and we did a cool little event at the New York store. Gerry did a giveaway. He was in there just talking to customers and passerbys, and it was just a dope thing. So yeah, we just continue to keep the friendship rolling.
Authenticity, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I admire so much of what Sean does, and this, Complex Con, and what I did with K-Swiss when I started getting a little more, collaborative. And then with Reebok I've got something brewing with B-Friends and Reebok coming out later this year. And we did a preview to that, which, this, Nick, because you guys are partners and real friends. There's not a single person on here that, if they have the luxury of meeting this man in real life, doesn't go from admiration for his creative superpowers to deep appreciation for the humanity and kindness and love that comes out of this man's soul. And actually 2023 for me is a real focus I'm thinking a lot more about efficiency in my travel and just in general, all to open up more time for more friendships, between family and work. That's just kind of how I roll. But I want to really open up more room for friendships, as Sean knows, as you know, Nick, between DM or texting. I'm pretty good like that, right? I check in, I want to support, but my actual hours, so many people, for example, even on this Spaces right now, so many people don't realize that I'm running a 2,000 person company. Yeah. And that Victor X is doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. That by itself is a 15-hour job. Then there's V-Friends, then there's the Gary V thing, then there's the investor thing, then there's actually still caring about wine techs and wine library for my dad. So, but I'm so focused on opening up room to expand on my friendships. I'm going out to, right after I'm here, I'm going out to another dinner with a couple that I would have loved. 40 times I tried to have dinner with in the last 2 years, 0 dinners. Now I'm doing it tonight. So Sean is one of those people that I have great love for. You're the same, Nick, where it's real for business friendship, real, I call them acquaintance pluses, people I got real love for that I can recognize immediately. I know a lot about them. I give them love. Then there's friends, that I don't get to spend time with. So this is pretty fun to do this on the 18th with the two of you, because you guys fit in a category of my New Year's resolution. Though I'm saying that for fun. It's a life resolution, which is I need to find more capacity for more hours for friends. And I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. And I hope that little rant maybe inspired someone to text someone they've been wanting to get drinks with actually, and maybe pull it off next week.
I love that. Also, it's great because this is the perfect spaces for us, because Sean and I we've gotten to know each other and become really good friends, and I think I feel the same about Sean in terms of being just top tier artist, just a really pure artist. But it was amazing to know that you guys had the history together, and we have a history together, so it feels like a really great moment to share together. And obviously very we appreciate you as Sean and I and Brennan build this new this new company that is MNTGE, and we're still introducing to the world, and obviously you're you're just being kind of here to share some time with us means a lot. And I'll add one more thing to that, is that when I posted, or when we at MNTGE posted, hey, Gary V is going to join us this week, we got a ton of, a major response. People got excited. We got a ton of RSVPs. And then, I saw that there was a couple comments or some notes in the Discord that were like, how do you get these guests? And, I didn't respond, but what I would say to this audience is like, it's 20 years of work, right? And it's like, you and I have crossed paths so many times over the years. And it was a hello, it was a nod, it was a collaboration, it was something with Snoop. Like we've gotten in the mix and gotten to know each other and become genuine friends. And when the time comes and you lean into people and you ask them, hey, can you appear? Can you make this? It's really purely out of friendship. So that's why I think what you just said really resonated with me. I was going to say that anyway. So thank you for joining me.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was petrified. We talked the other night and, I thought you said, we're going to say that the people in the community were going to say, why doesn't Gary V have any MNTGE NFTs yet? And as you started talking, my heart dropped, because like, fuck, because I did something about a year ago, which is like created a totally separate laptop and hard wallet for purchasing. And there's so much friction in that, because it's like, like locked up and this and that. And so it's not in my face the way it was a year ago when it was in my laptop and in a hot wallet and things of that nature. So thank God you were saying something sweet, but I still have to be loud and accountable. Don't worry, crew. Like, it's very hard. I always say bet on the jockeys. Like most of what I invested in, World of Women or Women in Weapons, or definitely Moonbirds. There's only two categories for me. I either subjectively love the art, back to Women in Weapons, or I completely believe in the operator, like Moonbirds. And so for me, you two being teamed up on this, I have, and I've been transparent with you the 3 times we've talked about this, like I'm in this crazy cocoon right now. I'm going to get out of it because we launched befriends.com yesterday, the new website. We've got 2 big tech launches here, but like, I really, like, I'm actually going to try to hang up here. Dustin's here filming in case we get content out of this. I'm going to try to force me to like do what I have to do here. So MNTGE community, don't worry, I'm coming on board. And it's like, I have no, I'm done with the whole, like, nobody buy it because I'm buying it. That speculation and, gold rush days are over. I'm doing it because of what I've always done, which is like, I find it hard to not believe in the two of you. And I'm aware that you guys have lots going on and you may, get sidetracked and do other things. But like, A, I want to support you because that's important to me because you guys are friends. And B, you guys are 2 real people. Like, you do think business, actually. This is not hyperbole. You don't play one on Instagram. And so that gives me confidence. It's ultimately why I think Be Friends will be the most successful project. I'm aware consciously that they're absolutely, and you look at the incredible work of Bored Ape and others, Luca, what he's doing, Pudge Penguins, like there's people doing it. Like, I may not build the best project in the next 25 years, but I'm going to be in the fucking mix because that's the story of my 25-year career.
Man, I appreciate that. And it resonates because the goal here is not to have, the objective isn't like, hey, Gary, go get a MNTGE pass. The goal here is like, we just want to vibe and talk and share. We want to show to the world that we're building something. It's slow and steady. We set out to build a small community. And by small, 1,000 is actually quite big, but we didn't set out to build something too big. We wanted to build something that we could really kind of connect with and prove that Sean and I are and Brennan, we're thinking about, how it applies to vintage clothing and collectibles. So, for us, like, again, it's just about showing improvement. So I love that.
Well, man. It's so cool. Everyone talks about like gifts and curses and timing. Yeah. You two are so fortunate. You're not fortunate that you didn't launch it 15 months ago when, it would have went for $1 trillion and all that. You are fortunate that there's a lot of baggage that came along with that gold rush. I feel it daily. Like, the people that bought day one, cool. But like after, depending on what timing was, it's underwater. And like, for me, it's a 50-year project. And so like, you feel the pressure, even for people that are gracious, forget about the people that are loud about it. For you, like, there's a big part of me that thinks this is an incredible time for real people to launch a project. There's so much upside. Everything is so priced in a calm on its merit, not the hysteria of the flip. And I think for real operators, look, there's never a bad time to launch a good business, and there's never a good time to launch a bad business, right? So like, yes, I'm aware when I launch BeFriends, and I'm aware with like the trials and tribulations of the chaos of the last 15 months, but like year 13, it's going to be what it's going to be. Same now. If you suck and you launch in this calm market, good news, it's still going to suck. But on the flip side, if you're good, to be able to launch right now is a fucking blessing.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with any of the hyperbole of a gold rush, and you can just kind of build.
Yeah, no, we feel it. I mean, I think we're thinking about the application of the software. We're thinking about the NFT. We're thinking about the asset, the collectible, but we're just really thinking about how does it amplify our lives? How does someone like Sean, who's an icon and a vintage connoisseur and a creative, think about it in terms of, wearables? How can I apply it to music and artists? So these are the types of questions that we have time and it's a little quieter, we can confront, and we can, work with some of these amazing development teams like Non-Fungible Labs and things like that who we've gotten to know over the last
Sean, by the
years.
way, real quick, Sean, are you around May 18th to the 20th? I spent the entire day today on VCon speaking, casting, and we're going crazy.
100%.
Okay, great. So
100%. Count me in.
Brother, it's really gonna be cool. Obviously, last year Nick and Snoop and Champ, along with Pharrell and even others, brought a lot of the flavor. But this year, I'm going more culture, business. Like I'm trying to bring as many CMOs and CEOs so people can learn business and marketing at the highest levels. And I want cool. And I find you at the tippy top of cool fashion. I appreciate that. The people that confirmed today were bananas, and I'm excited to have you there.
Hell yeah! No, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm really stoked. So that'll be dope for sure. And kind of like you said, it's funny hearing you talk about making time for friends this year, because I've always been so envious of my friends who are great friends. I just have to call out one person, my homie Etai. He's probably one of the best just friends in general to anyone that I've ever met. And I would always find myself referencing him, and I'm like, wow, it's incredible how he makes time for everyone in his life. Like, I've never met someone like that who just like always has time for you. And it's really like, it's so special. So I'm like, man, this year.
I'm sorry to interrupt or jump in here. Like, that's so insane to me, because one of my best friends that I think is like a great friend is Eitan. Yours is Etai.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Eitan Sugarman, big roses to you, brother. A lot of people know who you are in the New York scene over the last 25 years. Talk about like the definition of a friend.
Yep. Love that. No, it's cool. I mean, it was cool hearing you focus on that this year, because that's like my big focus. So it's like, time for friends, but luckily all my friends do cool stuff. So I think it'll be a fun year,
Good friends and friends.
Yeah.
Yo, Gerry, I'm gonna ask you a really basic, because I got a bunch of questions, but I want to ask you something super basic, because there's probably 0.0001% of people on here who don't know you at this point, because I think a lot are really tech savvy, tech forward, NFT, whatever. But for that 0.001, I just want to, because to me you're prolific, but who is Gerry V?
I'm a really very simple dude, believe it or not. For all the chaos and all that stuff, like, I'm an entrepreneur who's an immigrant, first generation, born in the Soviet Union, right? Who like came over and like did his family proud, right? Like walked into the family merchant liquor store business and changed the course of the entire family's life. And then at 34, one of the reasons I push patience on every kid on social media is, I spent the first 12 years of my career 7 days a week in a liquor store, not 9 to 5, 7 to 10 p.m., open and close the store for a decade, Saturday included. I would get Sundays during the football season, not a lot of Sundays during not the football season. And, and I never made $100,000 from 22 to 34. And, that's hard. And and so it's just like so big that I know it's true. Like, I know it's true that if you do the right things and if you have the talent, you're going to end up there. And so I think I'm just a very cliche, not too crazy, out of the ordinary immigrant entrepreneur story that valued family over themselves first, But I think what's unique about me, and that's only because the internet was around. You know, had I been in the 50s and 40s and 60s, I just kind of I probably would have 35 wine stores right now, right? And I'd probably be maybe 50-50 partners with my dad. Probably not, but I would inherit it, right? But with the internet, I was able to speed up my course. Plus I had an 11-year younger brother who I wanted to be in business with. That forced my hand a lot. And then I think I'm a guy who like really likes to see other people win. Things are getting clearer for me of like how I'm wired. Like, Nick, you know this. Sean, you even know this by the way our relationships have formed. And a lot of people here know this. Like, I really want people to fucking win. I really want it. Like, why? Because I'm so fucking great. Nobody's taken from me. I see the fucking, one of the great iconic legends of all times here, Snoop. All of Snoop's winnings, right? All of your winnings, Nick. All of Sean's winnings. I'm just gonna keep all of Sammy and Jake and Vicky J. Like, everyone's winnings don't come from me. I'm gonna get mine. So like, you know, if you're great, you should only be cheering for people. There's no time for envy. There's no time for jealousy. There's no time for gossiping at dinner, tearing down somebody that's winning. I'm cheering for Maverick Carter. I'm cheering for like everybody. I'm cheering for fuckers in my own industry, other ad agency. If they're good enough, they're good enough. Hawk Media, good, win. Like, I'm cheering for people because nobody's taking a penny or a smile out of my pocket. And so
did that come from age? Did that come from age? And I ask you from success in age, because
nope.
No, okay.
Sure didn't. I wouldn't have, if I wasn't that person, I would have never built something for my dad. Parents and siblings aren't off, aren't hands off from this stuff. They're not exempt. If you envy your brother and sister most. If you envy, you envy your sibling, your partner, your spouse, your parents most. This is how I was born from the womb, from the dirt of Belarus. This is who the fuck I was. And then I was formed and molded by my mother, who's the same person. So I had the luxury of the double down. For a lot of people here, they're gonna understand the double down. A lot of us have the DNA of one of our parents, and then that parent is the most impactful parent to us. Others, we have the DNA of the other parent, and they're not the one that kind of did the hardcore parenting. So I had the DNA of my mom, and then I had her parented, so I just became like the 2.0 version of her.
Amazing. So you know what's interesting? The reason I asked if it came with age is that I spent my early career in music, right? Coming up in the music game, and in particular around hip hop artists, right? And there was a when we were young, there was a level of competition, and it was like, it was very, very selfish, but it drove a ton of success. Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah.
Nobody's more competitive than me. On this call, I've already said that Be Friends has to be the #1 NFT project of all time.
Right.
To your point, this is where people struggle, and I love that you said that. I used to cry until I was 17 anytime I lost in anything. My brother once beat me in NHL 94, and I punched a hole in his bedroom wall. Like, I'm plenty competitive. Like I'm like in a bad. I'm actually. I just did a podcast where I said it's my darkest part. I'm dark when it comes to competitiveness, but I don't think people understand that you can carry two opposite feelings at the same time, and they can coexist. This is where everyone gets fucked up. I'm competitive and cheering for everyone. I'm the most hungry and ambitious, and I'm patient as fuck. The fucking superpower comes from the balance of the opposite feelings.
I get it. No, it makes so much, one thing I have noticed though is, as we've all gotten older, at least, a lot of the icons that I've worked with, whatever, there's this sort of celebration now, and there's this sense of like, there's this real sense of love, and I just watching it unfold right now has been really inspiring. But I think it's
cliche that once you scratch your itch, then you are good. What I'm trying to get the kids on here to understand is, when you're 20 and you want to be a supermodel or an athlete or the best entrepreneur, you want to be the next generation of the people on this call, like, it's then. If you're smart enough to be gracious and happy for others and be the bigger person, the depths of those relationships will be greater. Nick, think about all the icons in music that are now giving each other roses, but they were fucking competing with each other because they thought the world was scarce. Yeah. Think about how more beautiful their relationships would be today, and think about this one's gonna hit for you. think about all the missed nights, all those concerts, all those Kingdom Balls, all those fucking BET Awards, all those nights where people could have chopped up, shared bread, fucking been family instead of fucking hating on each other. They missed those 700 nights.
Yeah, no, I think about it all the time. I really think about it, and I think about, you know, this is something that if you can instill that in people at a younger age now,
exactly,
you know, it changes the whole dialogue, man. So I 100% agree with you, man, and it's warm to hear. So I want to ask you another question. You are known as a collector. I see you collect. You've inspired me to collect. I think it's probably how you got to know Sean and some of the other streetwear icons. You know, at heart, like what was the first thing you collected? Like, how did you get into it? Because I think that story is amazing for our audience.
Baseball cards, 1984. So I was 9. Don Mattingly was Yankees first baseman. He was my hero. And then I like, you know, we were like, you know, you could tell the story and nobody believes you, but like we were poor. Like we didn't get shit. Like I didn't even know shit existed. You know, I guess a little bit like, you know, like it was just this kid, Eric Conrad. By the way, Eric Conrad, if anybody can find Eric Conrad, I think his mom lived in Florida. His dad lived in Jersey, in Edison, New Jersey, in Dogwood Meadows, and he would visit for the summer. And so like I've lost touch with him like since 1987. But if you're out there, Eric Conrad, with a dad and mom that were divorced, and dad was in Edison, New Jersey, I'd love to chop it up. Like I literally haven't talked to him since 1987. But from 84 to 87, we used to go into his basement and we would make card houses out of decks of cards. Like literally for like 3 hours, and then we go play wiffle ball and basketball. And it was the first time I built card houses. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you take a deck of cards and try to build a fort or like a castle. And then one day we like ran out of cards, and he was like, stay right here. And he ran upstairs and he came down and he had baseball cards to add to our playing cards. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was already crazy about the Jets and the Yankees. And that was it. It was sports cards. And what's really neat is I've never told that story. It was because I was building card houses out of playing cards, and Eric Conrad went upstairs and brought down baseball cards. That made me realize they existed. And within 13 seconds, I'm like, I need a Don Mattingly baseball card. And then I'd take my bike or walk to Krauser's, which was like a 7-Eleven in Jersey. And then my eye noticed that at the counter there was baseball cards. And that's why I had to do lemonade stands, because I needed the money to buy baseball cards. Because that's the beauty of how I grew up. Like my mom was not buying that shit for us. Money was for food and clothes and shelter. And so I learned how to get mine early.
And then it's like a couple things. When the Don Mattingly thing resonates, I'm from the same era, right? So to this day, that still hits home. The Eric Conrad, there was an Eric Conrad who was a club promoter in the 90s in New York. I don't think it's the same Eric Conrad, but I've had my own Eric Conrad in my life. So there's a chance that
Eric Conrad's, wait a minute, did Eric Conrad's, were they divorced, his parents?
I don't know. I didn't know his parents. He was doing parties around New York City.
Man, that'd be so crazy. All right, cool.
I'll look into it. I'll see if it's the same one. So when you're buying the baseball cards, was the motivation at that point? Did it turn into like a financial thing? Was it about making money, or was it about the kind of the spirit of the collecting, or did you just love baseball?
I love baseball. I love Don Mattingly, and then 2 years later, there was the baseball card club in 6th grade. Remember, this is pre-internet, kids, so there was no information out there for us kids. And I went to the baseball card club in 6th grade, and then I saw a price guide for the first time. Think about young Gerry seeing a price guide for the first time. It'd be like fucking God seeing the Bible. Like I was like, da-da-da. I'm like, this shit's worth money. It was fucking over. Like,
yo, I remember those, Gerry. It was like the sports card almanac, right? It was like a paperback, almost like the Scrabble dictionary kind of.
Well, that was the big one that came once a year. But before Beckett, there was this like there was like a non-colored printed baseball card guide that would have like one primary color on the cover, but everything was black and white. And that was the first one. I think some people will tweet it out because it was pretty prominent. I'm just blanking because I've never really Googled back to try to get the name. And then like a year later, Beckett came out. And by 1988, Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, it was over.
Dude,
it took over the culture.
That's what got me into all the, I mean, that was my entry to this entire world as well, as baseball cards, dude. Like my stepdad at the time was like diehard, sports fanatic. So started to wash onto me. And dude, I just started getting into the baseball cards. And that was that moment that you speak about. Like when I had that like almanac of the sports card prices, it was like a price guide. It was crazy to me because I would buy a pack of cards for $1. And then I remember I would go through the book and I would look up the value of each one. And some of them would be like 75 cents or like 60 cents or like 15 cents or 10 cents. But I was like, wow, every pack is always worth more than $1. And that's like where it really showed me. I would start going into like collector's corner, and I'd be like, hey, I have this one where I think it's worth $3, and the guy would give me like 60 cents, and then I would end up getting like $1.20 credit, and I would get a new pack of cards. It was so sick, and this was so early on, dude.
And what you also learned, because I'm gonna have to run here soon for the dinner, but I want everybody to hear this. Me too. I want everyone to hear this very slow, because this will help with NFTs, this will help with streetwear, this will help with everything. You saw and I saw, wait a minute, I bought a pack for 35 cents. Because remember, this is OG land, right? And oh my God, it all adds up to like 59 cents. What you didn't know and I didn't know then was nobody really wanted the 10-cent cards. So there was no demand against that perceived value. Number two, what you also knew was Mike Greenwell was hot his rookie year and it went up to $2. But the next year he slumped, and the year after that he wasn't that good. And Greenwell was a little bit better than that, but I'm just play with me here. His rookie year, it was worth $2, but 12 months later, wait a minute, I thought cards were supposed to go up. Why is this 80 cents now? Oh, wait a minute, that's demand. People don't think he's gonna be as good as Wade Boggs or Ted Williams. And so the things we learned in that era, of course we were going to be unstoppable later. Of course you were destined to understand supply and demand and collectability. Of course I was going to be able to explode my dad's wine business because people collected wine. By the time I was 18, I was a fucking master. I was spending 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, focused only on understanding why cards went up and why they didn't. Why Ken Griffey did, why they didn't. Why Frank Thomas did, then they didn't. Wait a minute, why are Michael Jordan cards going up? Wait a minute, he's more popular than the game. He's in that Spike Lee commercial. He's on the Wheaties box. Oh, that's why. People just like him. That's called demand. Like you start learning.
Killed it.
Amazing.
Killed it.
So what's crazy is to think that both of you guys, your careers have essentially been inspired and are very linked to this early collecting and trading baseball card thing is incredible because what your careers have become. I think a piece of content we have to shoot 100% would be Gerry picking vintage clothes with Sean. You down, Gerry?
I'm in, bro. Listen, the vintage clothes thing,
Let's go.
You guys don't even know. I wish AJ was on here right now. In 1998, when we were all about that eBay life, we were buying fucking like Iron Maiden t-shirts for 25 cents and selling them for $40. This is where I always laugh when people think I just pop onto something. I made a mocktails video the other day. And somebody wrote a comment of like, well, this trend's over. Now Gary V's here. I'm like, my man, I've been here for 6 years. Just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. I bought ETH in 15. For me, like the vintage clothes thing, like I've been going to, thrift stores and garage sales buying, t-shirts for 20 years. By the way, I don't rock them. That's not my fashion style. I'm not that cool. I'm not as cool as everybody on this call. But I'm aware of what the currency is. Like I understood what it meant. Before there was eBay in 1994, I was buying Happy Days board games and Ronald McDonald plush toys. I didn't even know that they were worth anything. There was no eBay. I just knew nostalgia and pop culture and memories were the fucking game. VeeFriends is not a random thought because I saw an opportunity. VeeFriends is a culmination of 40 years of thinking.
I love that line of, just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. And I think I can really resonate with that as well, where
especially
you don't know
especially for me right now. I apologize for interrupting. I just want to get
no, you're great
for everybody. Especially for me right now, because the second I say shit, people are speculating. I've got to be more quiet than ever now.
Yep.
It's incredible, man. I want to see that vintage collection. I think that might be the inspiration for us to do a little collab together.
The vintage collection's long gone. I flipped that shit. I find it like that was how AJ made money back then, right?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't rocking it, and because for me it was like, through the years, then I lived in Manhattan. My parents they do like to hoard stuff, which means they don't want me to hoard stuff at their house. So like there's all these different dynamics that led to like a lot of stuff being sold. There was a flood. I don't even want to talk about it. Lost like 10. Me and AJ nailed the video game thing crazy. We were buying Mike Tyson punch outs for 25 cents at garage sales in 2002. Like, you know? So anyway, I got to run. I apologize. I love everybody. I hope you have a great session.
I love you, Gary. I need one question before you go. I want to hear the thoughts on the future of digital fashion. That's it. What are you thinking about? You got any thoughts on that?
The world is about and. If something exists in analog, it's going to exist in digital. So if fashion exists, digital fashion is going to exist. Except the problem is 99% of things are not going to work. You know, like 99% of projects is not going to come through. But the macro, yes.
Right. Okay, got it, man. Well, listen, I know you're. We're gonna stay on here. We're gonna keep chopping it up about what we're doing at MNTGE. But Gerry, I appreciate you coming up through so much. We're working on something, by the way. Little DOGG stuff. We'll talk about that later.
Love it. Love everybody.
But my man,
peace, Gerry. Peace.
I'm looking for that Gerry sweep the floor. Peace. Sean, you still there?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
What up, Brennan? You there? So Brennan, jump in, man.
That's a hard one to follow there, Nick.
I know, it's awesome. He's the best.
He's amazing.
He's the best.
He is the best.
I wanna share a little bit about what we're doing, Brennan. I think now is a good forum. I think some people might check out, but I think for those who are supporting what we're doing at MNTGE, it'd be good for us to share a little bit about what we've done up to now and kind of a little bit of the timeline of what's coming. You want to kind of get into a little bit?
100%. And Sean, I'll have you jump in here too and add some details here. But I think high level, I think we have Sean's collection coming out. I think we've been working on that for forever, it feels like now. But it's super, super exciting to see everything get, finalized, get put on chain. And what we're doing is we're taking vintage clothes that sit in Sean's archive that are super, super, super near and dear to his heart and special in all ways, and we're bringing them to life. So rather than have them sit and collect dust, we're allowing people to interact with them in a whole new digital way. And so Sean's collection will consist of 4 garments. It'll be a denim jacket, a denim pant, a granny sweater, and a beach tee, along with 3 inks that are flowers, a Venus flytrap, and mushrooms. And so these inks will be able to interact with all the different garments. And what's really cool about what we're doing is all the inks and all the different garments, they'll be able to interact with one another. So you'll be able, as a consumer, as looking at this and wanting to customize it, you'll be able to take those inks and allow them to be applied to the garments and create something that, you put your stamp on it. And we're super, super fired up to allow the community to create rarity. And so while we'll create the initial rarity, ultimately, there's a day where somebody might not combine one of the inks with one of the garments, or there might be a bunch of people that combine one of the inks with one of the other garments. So really, it'll be awesome to see how the community takes it and runs with it. And we really feel like customization is such a critical part to fashion. Whether it's writing on sneakers, whether it's biker patches on jackets, it's just innate to the culture, and we feel like this is a major step in the right direction. And we hope in the future we can continue to evolve and expand this and pioneer the customization in the fashion game.
And Sean, as someone who's been in fashion for a long time, it has fabric and design, and when you thought about working in the digital space, tell us about that process a little bit. How'd you approach it?
Well, to kind of touch on what Brendan was saying, that's what I was excited about this for, is that I do have this collection, as do so many people, of you always have your private archive, the not for sale stuff, or the things that I'm keeping near and dear because I know it's the ultimate reference piece, or it's a piece of handmade folk art from the 1940s or turn of the century even. And there's these pieces of vintage that are actually turning into more of American history, or just even global world history. And we're getting to a point where these are actually being recognized at such a higher level. And so that being said, I've kept this collection super near and dear because I was waiting for the ultimate way to to give the consumer and, you know, people the chance to experience it. And so it was cool having this opportunity with like Web3 because, like you said, customization, it means everything to me. Like I've always been a huge proponent, even with like, you know, with the creation of different like programs like the Nike by You or whatever it is, like always been a huge part of trying to make that work for the consumer and giving you more and more levels of customization and being able to express like your personality at the highest level possible. And so to me, that was the, you know, the ultimate kind of place to get at with these vintage physical pieces is, well, I can't sell them. They're just one of one. You know, they could go in a Sotheby's auction and no one will really get the chance to own it. But by doing this, I'm really giving everyone the chance to own it in almost the same capacity as physical, because it feels so real through this level that we've created. I mean, we're working with teams that are creating like a digital product that one-to-one I can never even really tell whether it's I'm looking at an image of a real one or the digital. I'm always like asking, I'm like, hey, like, by the way, this is like the digital, you know? And so it's really impressive, but I'm also excited, like Brennan said, to see what people do with my toolkit that I curated. So it's like me as the artist, I was able to go through and curate my world. You know, my world is nature inspired. I spend a lot of time outside. I love looking at, I always talk about in interviews, but I love like fully looking at a flower and a leaf and just all the different textures and layers and depths and colors that it has to offer. There's just so much there. And we've been able to take that nature world and bring it to life through inks that you can apply to the garments. And it's just so sick, to be honest with you. Like, I've been having so much fun playing with it myself, of, you know, taking a denim jacket that has been through 50, 60 years of wear, has been patched up and it's been resewn and, you know, repaired. And now you can take that jacket and you can apply these effects from nature and at this fantasy level. And it's just super incredible. Honestly, it's where I thought we would be in the future with clothing. You know, it's kind of like when you watched a movie in 2002 on what they thought it would be like in 2020 and beyond. That's like where we're at, and that's where we've managed to get with it. So yeah, I don't know, I could really trip on it for a while. It's super exciting to me.
No, it's amazing because I mean, I think you're setting the tone for the first collection, but then the goal, and you know, we have a lot of other designers that we're working with, and you know, I think there's a lot of iconic Web3 artists that we're talking about designing inks with too, that, you know, we plan to announce soon. But I'm curious, like, if it, you know, through this work, are there any designers that, you know, you dream of potentially working with in the digital space that people have inspired you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many people that I want to work with in the digital space. I mean, I'm a huge Tom Sachs fan, and I think it's like a dream to work with Tom Sachs one day. It's cool that he's also, you know, doing stuff in the digital space and believes in it. I think like other artists, I don't know, I'm really
I mean in traditional fashion, any of your friends that you want to kind of get in?
I mean, anybody? I would love to work with Verbal, you know, like I think some of my friends out of Japan that are doing really cool and like innovative design work. I think just anyone who's doing stuff kind of like out of the box in the physical world, like it gets me excited to work with them in the digital, because I'm like, man, if that's what you're creating here, who knows? Like a Salehi, and not to put Salehi out there, but I know he's not like, you know, super keen maybe on Web3 and stuff like that, but he's someone who, like, all things aside, like I just get so stoked thinking about what Salehi would create in this Web3 world, because he already is so like out there and so like, you know, game changing with his designs. I'm like, man, someone like that, I just get so excited on what he could bring to it. So I think it's like that kind of thing, you know. I would love to work with Don C. Like I would love to like work with like a Joe Freshgoods. Like there's so many dudes who are just killing it right now, you know, in that whole world. I would love to work with like you know, Sarah Andelman from Colette. You know, like Sarah is just like, she's always done so much cool stuff. You know, she does her books now with Just an Idea, and I think Just an Idea, it's been cool seeing her like use that as a vehicle for her creativity. So I just get excited on thinking about working with almost really anyone in the digital sense, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the goal, right? We're setting the tone, and you know, even with like a Salehi who we aspire to work with, and hopefully we can convince him, right? I mean, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So
I think that's I was just saying that. I think
Brennan.
that's the big picture, right? We're working to build a platform and onboard people into our ecosystem and make Web3, not this crazy, scary thing. It's a very comfortable space for people to come in and onboard them with easy, with an easy way to get into the space and make it very digestible for people. It can be a really, daunting task to get into it originally. But every day, everybody is working towards making it easier and more accessible for everybody. And if we can work with some of those people, I think that's going to be amazing, especially bringing it to a larger audience that really at the end of the day is pioneering digital fashion with us.
I'm gonna give a little secret, but before I do that, about who's on next week. But before I do that, Sean, I want to talk, because the jeans I keep seeing on your Instagram, the Levi's. Talk about those. Like what's going on?
I mean, I'm just really like not on purpose, just kind of really teasing them. Not on purpose at all. It's just like, I made them and I have fully fallen in love with these pants. I wear them every day of my life almost. And man, I've given them to like all my friends here who have asked, like anyone who asks me for them, usually like, yo, here, I got an extra pair at the office or something. I held a few pairs back for, some special friends and shit like that. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for us to bring these out through MNTGE. It means so much to me. Usually
So what are they? For those who don't know, what are they?
Yeah. Okay, dope. Yeah, I just assume everyone knows. Sorry. Fucking no. So I every week I pick vintage, for all of our round 2 vintage stores, for all my projects, whatever it is, I'm constantly picking vintage. And I just started a few months ago just putting together these collections of vintage Levi's. I would just every day grab maybe 10, 20, 50 pairs of what I thought had like really cool, unique wear, but really just anything, not trying to be super selective, trying to really be sustainable about it, not leave much behind. And so I had just put them in piles, not really much of a goal with it yet. And then I started thinking about the OG polo pants that would have maybe like ducks embroidered all over them. And I was like, holy shit, I have to do fruit and veggies. Like, that's my thing. So then I went to the embroiderer in downtown LA and we put together, some ideas for the fruits and vegetables. And from there, I would that's what it became. I just, without any goal in mind, just started picking my favorite Levi's and embroidering fruits and veggies all over them with my SW. And then that's when we struck the idea of integrating them into MNTGE, giving those to our holders as like a special opportunity, and then given like the access to those. And then also man, the whole chip process, like this is a big deal, that each pair is going to be chipped with its own identification. That kind of goes back to a digital version of it, kind of like a token of that purchase. So I think it's pretty cool, just being able to have these pants, and now with MNTGE have that extra layer of, digital ownership. And now we can kind of create a fun community around the pants. And there's just like so much more to come with that. So
yeah, and it's just how you think of. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, from a product perspective too, it's really amazing when you start thinking about tech-enabled clothes and what that can give you access to. And it's like it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, from event tickets to discounts to etc.
Yeah.
That really, when you're just wearing a shirt, it's like, I don't know, is that a bootleg shirt? But when you can tap it on a scanner and say, yes, this is the real shirt, cool, now you can have access to this.
Or what I like too is the idea that we've talked about, where when you walk into the Amazon grocery stores and you don't do anything, you just put the food in your basket and you leave, and it charges you and all that. I mean, that's essentially what we've been talking about with the idea of chipping our pants and some of our physical clothes, is that it grants you access. So then when we do our events, or when partners of ours or friends of ours are doing these events, you walk right through and you have access. You know what I mean? Those pants are chipped with your pass, and there's a scanner scanning that chip. Like, it's a cool thing. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a really cool way to, get into those special spots and like kind of be able to reap benefits of a smaller community,
Yeah, I love it. So I'm gonna give a little info on who we got next week on Fashion FUD in the future, and try to dig in with them a little bit about what they're thinking about. But to me, it's one of the people that I really helped me learn about the space from I didn't know them at the time, but he goes by one name and one name only, and that name is Beeple. So he'll be on our next. We'll drop a flyer later in the week, and normally I wouldn't give that much intel until like Monday or Tuesday, but we got it. But I felt like, hey, what the hell, we're having a good time tonight, so let's have a little fun with it. And then I think I'm good, man. I'm ready to wrap it up. I mean, Brennan, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, or if there's anything else we want to kind of dig into.
No, I think I'm good. I think next week will be super fun with Beeple, and I think we have a lot to gear up for with Sean, which will be super fun. And as that thing continues to roll out, it'll be a blast.
Yeah, so we're still tracking the same timeline for Sean's drop. There might be a day or two. I mean, it does turn out to be the same day as the Bored Ape sewer pass game ending, so it might be a day or two of might have to be a day or two of flexibility around that. But by the way, a big shout out to everybody out there trading their sewer passes. I'm curious to see how this thing plays out, but I was able to grab mine. So shout out to all my apes in the audience. I'm excited to see what transpires.
I'm about to hop on a call with Fran later. He's gonna walk me through it all, dude. I'm such a freaking dumbass, dude. I gotta start taking advantage of my mutants and my kennels, dude.
Yeah, let's do it. You got to do it, man. You got to pair them up and grab it, and that floor is pretty.
Thank God
right
for
now.
Fran, dude. Shout out Fran. Like, if you're even in here listening at all somewhere, just like, Fran is such a goat, dude.
Franalations, come up here, man.
He is such a goat.
Fran is a goat. If he popped up here right now, I'd be so excited.
Yeah, no, Fran's busy, dude. He's fucking mining, doing all kinds of crazy shit right now. Fran's busy, dude.
All right, I want the takeaway for you from Gerry before we bounce. What's your takeaway, Sean?
My takeaway is really making time for friends. I'm telling you, that's like the key. I'm so happy he said it, because that is the key to unlock everything. It's like, dude, if you don't have your friends, you have nothing. And it unfortunately took me the last 6 years to learn that. So 2023 is my making up for lost ground on trying to focus on friendships outside of business. Just really tough.
I love it. That's beautiful. Brennan, you got anything? Any parting words?
No, I loved what Gerry was saying about the real insight that he was saying is the things that you love as a kid develop into what you develop as an adult, and those passions are still there. And what he was saying about baseball cards, I remember going in and getting Pokemon cards and Michael Jordan cards that were like basketball cards, and that's what got me into collecting. And so it's funny how that's a red thread between a lot of collectors, is it's this accessible price point, but it's also a current culture and moment in time that like the things you collect as a kid, that's what ultimately it can shape you and direct you in certain ways throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, he is a force. I've gotten to spend a lot of time with him, and looking forward to doing more. And just kind of like every time I've been at the intersection of new technology and try to do something, the dude is always there. I just find that so impressive. So you kind of know you're doing the right stuff when you see his team kind of like out there just working it. So kudos and thanks again. So okay, I want to thank everybody for coming through. So the MNTGE, again, this is the MNTGE community and the MNTGE Fashion Fun Future. If you want to join it, just go grab one off of most likely off OpenSea. We got our friends and family, and we have our day ones. Our day ones, there's about 1,400 of them, and the friends and family is about 100. And the friends and family are for those who really that's like a sneaker game. Just want to keep doing surprise and delayed drops there. But we got so much coming. I'm so excited. So feel free to hit me up in DMs or on Twitter, or hit Sean or hit Brennan. Let's go. We got a ton of more work to do, and a ton of crazy artists to collaborate with. So peace, love, and soul. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything, but I think I'm good to bounce. Maybe play a little music on the way out, Darian.
That we drop sluts. There won't be no cuts here. Rappers play the dumb. Kinda on the stage.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!